What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Glow in the Dark podcast, the GITD podcast. I am your host, Ted Pajak, and finally we have the Glow in the Dark podcast, the much anticipated Christian podcast that's been in my mind, in my notebooks, in my thoughts, in my prayers, in my dreams for well over 6 months to a year now. And we have finally putting it together. I am super humbled and super thrilled to be bringing this to you guys. I thank you for the love and the support. Without you guys, this isn't possible. And, with that being said, we're going to get into the show here, but I'm going to let this song finish out, so I'll be right back at you.
Was in the dark, like the basement. My heart used to love sin, then he changed it. Look what grace did. Couldn't live without her, got no strength on my own. Yo, I'm living solar power, getting bright lit. This ain't no light switch, I can't turn it on and off. Lord, come ignite this. I wanna be that flame in the dark where no light is. While I'm in this frame, I show them who the Christ is. When they see my deeds, I'm just being me. I hope that they see in you every time they seeing me. Treating others the same way that I would want them treating me. Yeah, we say it all the time, but that ain't done so easily. So Jesus, give me your heart, mine is deceitful. Then give me your eyes, I wanna see people same way that you see them. Cause you all that they need. It's like I'm Peter, though I'm falling, you still calling me to feed them. In a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. In a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. I took a trip back to the Q's. I saw my old friend, ran into my boy Ox, man, it had me broken. Cause he was doing things that I know I had taught him back when I was in sin. Now I know the world's watching. You're giving hands, feet, tongue, eyes, and the like, to show the world what we really prize is the Christ. So take that Romans 12:1, apply it to your life. Let your light shine, your body's a living sacrifice. This is worship. With you on them verses, the light in you could be darkness. So are you serving? I pray Father search in. Working peace for your throne on the seat of my heart. So I leave that joint alone. All I know is that I'm prone to wander and to roam. So put fire in these bones, by your spirit make me strong. If we light then we own, it's time to make him known. We illuminate the dark till the day comes. We living in a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. We living in a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. I was made to light it up, city on the hilltop, and I know the only way, so hit me when you feel lost. Yeah, so put your shades on, lower your frames, cause when this glory shine, you gon' lower your frame. Higher than smoking Mary Jane on an aeroplane. His name's great, that's why Craig is living for Jesus, man. Much love to the folks in the church, lighting up the world while they putting in work. Even when it hurt, man, we can't stop now. Some gave in when they gave out, but we can't lose what we never did earn. Walk with the sun, so my life's gon' burn. Never giving up and I'm never gon' turn. Going in the dark till the Lord return. Yeah, Genesis 1:3 on mine, homie. So let there be lights, I'm trying to shine, homie. We living in a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light. We living in a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show? So let there be light, let there be light, let there be light, let there be light.
Boom, that was Andy Mineo's track entitled Let There Be Light from his 2011 mixtape entitled Formerly Known. That song has a lot to do with this podcast. So yeah, let's get into the show, the Glow in the Dark podcast, the official episode number 1. Coming at you, if you're on the YouTube channel, if you're on the website, thank you. So, what is the Glow in the Dark podcast, you ask? Good question. It's a Christian podcast that I have streamed together for what seems like forever now, and it's finally on paper, and it's finally something that I can bring to you guys. And so the way that I came up with the podcast is pretty interesting. I was in prayer one night, and with just the mindset of, I want to bring people to the Lord. I don't want to bring one or two. One or two is great. I want to bring boatloads and boatloads. Now, if I get one or two, that's amazing. But I want to bring boatloads of people to the Lord. And I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know the way to reach out to that many. I'm just a, a little man in the city of Pittsburgh. Not, I'm not really, known as a big, a big celebrity, a big, person in the game. I'm just a small town kid. How do I bring a lot of people to the Lord? So of course I went into prayer and I prayed about it. And so that night I'm watching a Pittsburgh Pirate baseball game, and next thing you know, there's a commercial and they're talking about an upcoming show or something, like a sports radio show that's, coming on after the game or whatnot. And I was like, sports radio. I listened to The Fan before, blah, blah, blah. Next night, I'm in prayer. Sure enough, God hits me. That's what I want you to do. I want you to make a Christian podcast, an internet radio show that's going to get people to listen, that's going to bring people to me. And I was like, all right, Lord, use me. Use me as the vessel. So I prayed about it for what seemed like forever. I've, did my research, and here we are, the Glow in the Dark podcast. So then I needed a name for it. I didn't know what I wanted to call this podcast. So I went to a Winter Jam concert in Pittsburgh in January with my youth group and my youth leader, and it was amazing. Skillet was the headliner. I love Skillet, and I have heard of Family Force 5. I've listened to them before, but I wasn't a big Family Force 5 fan at the time. I was like, all right, Family Force 5, they're cool. I'll listen to it. I'll watch the show. Man, they blew me away. They were phenomenal. They were just the coolest dudes. The concert was just phenomenal. The music was stellar, and I loved every minute of it. And it was amazing. And they start off with their intro song. If you've seen their recent concerts, they start off with an intro song, and it's called Glow in the Dark. So I was like, wow, okay, this is a really cool song. So the intro was cool. It's only like a 2-minute intro. They don't play the whole song. So I put the whole song on when I get home, and sure enough, this is the coolest song ever. And there's a whole other meaning behind it, It's about glowing in the dark, and if you watch the concert, it's the whole arena's black, and the lead singer, Crouton, his jacket lights up as soon as the song starts. And obviously, that's the only light in the arena. And that really spoke to me. There's the children's song when you're in Sunday school when you're little. The light song, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And about hiding it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. And that's when I knew the name of the podcast that I wanted, and I eventually came up with Glow in the Dark podcast from their song. So thank you, Family Force 5, for the inspiration behind the name of the podcast. I'm sure you're listening to this. We're best friends now. And so yeah, that's how it came to be. So then let's go down the line here. A couple months later, in April, I went to maybe it was April or May, I went to a Lecrae concert in Pittsburgh. And there was an artist who opened for Lecrae named Andy Mineo. And I was like, I've heard it. I think I've heard Andy Mineo. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, let's see what he does. Dude, his concert was phenomenal too. It was his message was cool, and it was down to earth, and it wasn't out of control, and his music was so good, and it wasn't just coming at people. It was like, this is what I've been through, and this is what I've learned from Christ to live my life of Christ. And it was amazing. His songs really hit home to me. I love Christian hip hop. I love Lecrae, and I love all those guys. Trip Lee, Tadashi, and now Andy Mineo, and I got hooked to Andy Mineo. So the one night I'm at home playing some video games, I just have my Pandora on, Andy Mineo Pandora. Next thing you know, this song comes on, and I had to stop playing my game. I paused it, and I had to listen to the words of this song. I'm listening to this song, and the intro goes, living in a dark world, how they gonna know if we don't put his glory on display and let it show, so let there be light. And it almost brought me to tears because I knew that this was the song for the podcast. I knew as soon as I heard it, I'm playing this video game, I'm like, what in the world is this song? I haven't heard this song before. And it was just, wow, that was, holy crap, this is the song that has to be the theme song of my podcast. So, as you heard, the song opened up the show here, and that's the theme song of this podcast. Let there be light. That's the whole meaning of my show, of my message, is glowing in the dark. Why be something that you're not? When you are in a situation, and I have a ton of them because I work at a Dunkin' Donuts, and I work with a whole bunch of non-believers. Just the way that I act around them, and I act in my store and toward others, toward customers, toward managers, toward crew members, is a life of Christ. I'm never of the world, as I like to say. You know, the world, the people I work with are, you know, smoking marijuana, doing drugs, alcohol, all that sort of stuff. And here's me just shining for Christ, being that difference in their life. When they, you know, have problems and all of these things, it's me they come to. And they pretty much don't know, you know, everything about me. They don't know what I'm from. They don't know, you know, who I am to say. But there's just something, you know, about the way, the things they see in me that they know I'm different. And that's exactly why I'm bringing this to you guys, just to show you when you glow in the dark, you make a difference. It might not seem like you are, but you are. And that's the whole thing. Like I said, I wanted to bring a boatload of people to the Lord. And this show, I firmly believe that we're going to see a move of people start glowing in the dark. Because when you glow in the dark and you change people's mindset on how to act and why you're glowing in the dark and who you're glowing in the dark for, things change, man. Things absolutely change. And you will see people coming to the Lord in boatloads. And I am super, super thrilled for this movement, the glow in the dark movement, where your light is shining for Christ throughout anything that's going on in your life. I've dealt with some things recently that really have put me in the dark. But once my light shines, it changes everything. I have coworkers I work with that, you know, are on drugs and this and that, and I've led them to the Lord, and it's amazing. Like, I'll be in the bakery baking and listening to Andy Mineo or Lecrae, and they're like, "Oh, what artist is this? Is this Drake or is this, you know, so and so?" I'm like, "No, this is Lecrae, Andy Mineo, or, you know, Trip Lee, Tadashi, KB." And they're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Oh, they're a Christian hip hop." He's like, "This is Christian music?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is Christian hip hop. It's not what you think when I say, oh, I'm going to a Christian rock show. It's not like what people perceive as being Christian gospel holy music. No, it has the same sound as your other music, but it has a positive, uplifting message, which is what I wanted to bring to you guys. So if you, a little shameless plug here, I have a website. Maybe you're listening to this on the website or on the YouTube channel, maybe even on iTunes once I get there. It's glowinthedarkpodcast.weebly.com. glowinthedarkpodcast.weebly.com. And I have an about section there. I'm going to read this about section to you. You can go read it on your own, you know, in your spare time. I have a homepage that has where the podcast will be, like the newer ones, and I'll have an archives, and all this will be up there. I have inspirations and contact, and I have a store. Now, I don't make any money off of this store, but I self-designed all of the merchandise, and There will be shirts that say "I glow in the dark" or "Let there be light." Shirts that have a meaning to the show and to other, to just glowing in the dark. And if someone sees your shirt, oh, what does glow in the dark mean? You can tell them, that's what I glow in the dark. I am for Christ. I live a life of Christ, and you can bring someone to the Lord that way. The store is there to be an icebreaker, so to say. If you buy a shirt, I have hats on there. Buy a hat. It's a tool to bring people to the Lord. So the About section says, my name's Ted Pajak. I'm proud to be the host of the Glow in the Dark podcast. The GIT podcast is my very own creation, and I'm unbelievably honored to bring this podcast to you weekly. You may be asking yourself, why a Christian podcast? One day I was pondering how to get more people to the Lord, and when I say more people, I mean a lot. As I was in prayer that evening, the Lord told me the world needed more positive, uplifting media, and I was instantly confused. I've been listening to Christian music my whole life, sharing it all along the way. What other media is there? Soon after that, I went into prayer, and I put my TV on to the Pittsburgh Pirate game on Root Sports Pittsburgh, and a local commercial came on for a sports talk podcast. Boom, it hit me like a ton of bricks. That was the media that the Lord was talking about, podcasting. I soon realized that podcasts are huge. For one, they are available any time of the day. People can listen to it at work, in their car, during exercise, during rest, any of the time of the day, anywhere. So when I finally committed to the podcast idea, I needed a name. When at work, I was playing Christian music, positive, uplifting, and one day I had my favorite group on, Family Force 5, and Glow in the Dark came on. I quickly figured out the meaning of the song. Even in the dark, your light will shine and spread a positive message. The next couple nights went by, and I got off of work super late and wanted to relax after work, so I started playing a video game and put on Andy Mineo Pandora, and the song Let There Be Light came on. Again, boom, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Instantly, I knew the name for the podcast, the Glow in the Dark podcast. Even in the darkest times and the toughest times in your life, keep your light shining and keep faith. You can be that positive light in someone's life and change everything. This is truly the motto I live by, and I keep my light shining and show the world who helps me keep it shining. So when you're on the podcast, when you're on the website, just, check that out, read that for me, and share it with people. This is our tool to bring people to the Lord, glowing in the dark when all else seems like it's failing and when all hope is lost. Let your light shine. And, even if your times are good and your times are, not needing, even if you're comfortable, you never know who else isn't comfortable. You could be at the store. You could be getting wrung out at a cash register, and the cashier could just, be having the worst time of their life. And you're glowing in the dark, and you're going to change that person. And, they may ask you, what, you seem different. What's your story? And you can tell them, this is what I see. This is what I'm about. And, man, you don't know how humbled I am to give you guys this whole experience. So I have two Bible verses on the About page that I've really thought was the background of my whole podcast. And the first one is Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Which also goes back to the Andy Mineo song, Let There Be Light, when he says, when they see my deeds, I'm just being me. I hope that they see in you every time they see in me. So, showing like when people see you, they're also seeing Christ. And the second one I have is 1 John 1:5-7. This is the message we've heard from him and declare to you. God is light, in him there's no darkness at all. If we claim to have fellowship with him and yet walk in darkness, we lie and do not live out the truth. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, purifies us from all sin. That's a strong one, man. That one I've actually had written down forever. It's a Toby Mac verse. If you're familiar with Toby Mac, who's one of probably my top favorite artists of all time. And that message is strong, man. God is light, in him there's no darkness. When you live a life of Christ, there's no darkness. God never told us it was going to be easy. Being a Christian isn't isn't easy. It's not. He never said it was going to be easy. But he's going to see you through the storm. There's another song reference. I didn't mean to have a song reference there, but it just kind of came out. There's no darkness when you're in God's light. When you're in the light, you don't have to worry because God's going to see you through it. Your times might be rough, but you're going to get through it. And those times are going to make you a whole lot stronger than you've ever imagined, ever. In 2003, my father passed away. I was 10 years old. I wasn't 10 years old in 2003. I take that back. Was it 2000? I believe it was 2003. I've lost so much track of time. Yeah, it was 2003. That's right. I was 10 years old. And my father passed away. What was I going to do? I lost the greatest man in my life. And that hurt. It was the hardest thing I've ever dealt with. And I remember, being at home wondering what I was going to do without a father. And, I still had my mom, and instantly I was the man of the house. In my mind, I was the man. There was no other guy in the house. And from that, I remember going home the day that he passed away. And we all sat on my bed, my mom, my brother, and me. We prayed, and it was like one of those things. Like, what are we going to do? And we gave it to God. We gave the whole situation to him. We asked him, to give us the grieving process, to let it be quick so we're not grieving forever. Let us get through this process. And that situation in itself made me who I am today. I'm a strong individual. And that's not boasting. It's just God brought me through that. It's not boasting. It's not cockiness. That's another Andy Mineo reference. I just know that God got me. And that situation, when I'm seeing relatives that, are asking me how I'm feeling and how I am about the whole thing, a little later, I was fine. It's not like I got over it, but it just didn't hurt as bad. And that's because God brought me out of it. I was the light to my relatives, to my friends, that we're going to be able to get through this. There's no reason to grieve. We're going to see him again at some day. When that day is, we don't know. We don't know when our time's up. But while we're here, let's make a difference. Let's change the world before we're called to go home to our Father. And that's more ways than one with me, I want to change the world before I'm called to go home to see my Heavenly Father and my worldly father. And when that gave me chills saying that. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I want to change the world before I get called home. While I'm here, I want to be a difference. I want to be that flame in the dark where no light is. And this whole podcast has just humbled me to no belief that I am just a vessel for him, and I am called to bring people to him, to make his kingdom, just to fill his kingdom. And you don't know how that makes me feel. It makes me, I can't even describe it. It's just one of those things that I have finally learned in life what I'm called to do. And man, that in itself is big. So that's the Glow in the Dark podcast for you guys. That's where it came from. That's my story. That's what this first episode was about, to show you what the Glow in the Dark podcast is about, and what my story is, who you're going to be listening to weekly. So the main goal of this podcast is to give you messages weekly, is to uplift your spirits, is to give you a positive message when you might not have one elsewhere. I'm not going to get too preachy to you guys. I'm going to just give you a message that you can take out in the streets with you and glow in the dark and shine your light. And that's, like I said, that's the whole meaning of it. So that's what I'm going to give you guys weekly. I'm also going to talk about Christian artists and something that I'm super excited to announce to you guys. And this is pretty much the first that I've made known of it. I've made it known on my Twitter account at GITD Podcast, and it is that we are going to be at Creation Fest 2015. Now, this is huge. This is very, very big for me. I had emailed Creation Fest. Now, if you don't know what Creation Fest is, it's a big Christian music festival. They have two of them, one on the northeast and one in the west. Northwest and northeast, I think. They have one, and we go to the one in the northeast. It's in Pennsylvania. It's in, like, around Mount Union, PA, and it's at Agape Farm. And what it is a 5-day event. 5 days? Yeah, 5 days. Wednesday through Saturday, I believe, and we go home. We get there Tuesday and go home Sunday. So I go with my youth group, and it's essentially just a big Christian gathering. They have concerts all day. They have a main stage and a secondary stage, and they bring pretty much the big name artists in the game, and they main event the nights. And then they have, other bands throughout the day, and then at night not at night, but in the evening to the night, they bring out the big guns with large bands, and they have speakers during the evening. They have speakers during the day. They have separate speakers that do like trail messages, where you walk a trail and you go to this outdoor little area where you get taught scripture in the word and hear messages. And they do communion. They do a big candle lighting. There's a ton of people there. I don't even know the number because it changes all the time. But I had emailed them and to get a media pass to get interviews for the show. And I figured that it wasn't going to happen. We're not a big podcast just yet. And so I figured, it's worth a shot. And they accepted me. And I was quivering when I was reading this message that I got accepted. So we will be at Creation Fest 2015. The Glow in the Dark team will be at the Creation Fest, and we're gonna get interviews for you guys. So either not next week's show. It's gonna be a while when you hear the interviews, because it's not till June 23rd, I believe. June 23rd is when it is. So we're going to have a couple weeks up to that point. And man, how humbling is that? You get accepted to give interviews there. So the big name artists, and, well, I can't say big name artists because all the artists to me are big. There is We As Human is going to be there. I love them. Skillet's going to be there. Man, Skillet is just the coolest. Lecrae is going to be there. Toby Mac's going to be there. Switchfoot's going to be there. Matthew West is going to be there. Blanca's going to be there. Sean Locke's going to be there. There's a whole list of people that are going to be there. The links are going to be in the YouTube channel for sure. They'll be on the website if you want to go check it out. Check out the Creation Fest, man. It is a great time. I believe tickets are still being sold, so go buy your ticket. It's a camping trip, pretty much. So when you see your stuff, when you're on there, it's a 5-day camping trip. You're allotted a spot. They give you a spot there where you set up camp, and they have communal showers, communal bathrooms, big vending areas where they sell food. They have a big merchandise little area, not a little area, but a big merchandise area where they have all the artists selling their merchandise. And it's just phenomenal. They have hotel accommodations a couple miles away. So even if you don't want to camp, you can still go to the hotel and go to the grounds, the Creation grounds all day, and then go back to your hotel later at night. If you live around Mount Union, maybe just grab a ticket and just go drive there and then drive home. It's really, really worthwhile. And if you're not, around the Northeast region, then go to the Northwest region. I think they have a different lineup, but just get to Creation Fest sometime in your life. Their motto is, it could change your life, or change your summer and your life. And man, Creation Fest is a great time. So go to Creation Fest, man. it's mind-blowing. It's one of the most humbling experiences ever, just being surrounded by Christians, singing the songs, praying together, worshiping together, fellowshipping with one another. If that's what heaven's like, man, count me in just now. Just let me get there today. Like, it is just the greatest experience you'll ever have in your entire life. So yeah, that wraps up the first episode of the Glow in the Dark podcast. Again, my name is Ted Pajak. Check out the website, glowinthedarkpodcast.weebly.com. Check the Twitter at GITD podcast. And yeah, I thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. And I ask you just to join us next week for another fun-filled episode. I know this week I didn't get too much into a message, but that's only because I want you guys to know what we're about and to know who I am. So again, guys, I thank you. Check out the website, check out the Twitter, check out the YouTube channel that's going to be around. You'll be seeing a lot of stuff on there. So again, my name's Ted. God bless, guys, and remember, glow in the dark. Keep your light shining.
You energize me. I've never felt this before. Oh, and it's blinding. Brighter than the sun